be named podcast. I think we're sticking with Wednesday Hump Day. Is that what we're going with, Pac-Man?
I'm not sure yet.
All right. Well, it's still to be named Wednesday Get Together. We're really excited to have another awesome project joining us tonight. For those that are joining from the Republic Labs community and the Republic Repair community, welcome. Welcome to those who are joining from Pac-Man Media, and also from Aventus tonight because we're really excited to have some very special guests. We're going to let everybody introduce themselves before maybe Pac-Man and I come back and reintroduce everything that we're working on also. But maybe we'll throw over to Alan and Ellie, and you guys can explain exactly who you are, what you do, and what makes you so special.
Sure, I'll take us away. Hey, everybody. Good to be here. So my name is Alan Bay. I am the founder of Aventus, and we're all about bringing the Web 2 world into Web 3. So kind of or should we say, the more traditional use cases in the Web 3 space from, supply chain and logistics, energy markets, loyalty and rewards programs. And most recently, we have a client that's just spun up in the prediction market space. So we carry quite a wide breadth. What we at Aventus focus on is the kind of plug and play product, almost like a blockchain ecosystem, but for enterprises with all of the kind of bells and whistles you need to really drive scale and do so compliantly. So yeah, that's what we've been focused on for the last 5 years at least.
Nice.
Maybe this is super amazing. So I want to drill down into all of the different subtopics you just talked about. But maybe Ellie, do you want to maybe share what you do inside the project as well?
Yeah, sure. So Alan gave a pretty comprehensive overview of Aventus. You can tell he's done that intro once or twice. Yeah, I am a head of marketing at Aventus. So a lot of the things that Alan talked about can be, I don't want to say boring, but it's not the it's not
professional.
Exactly, it's very professional, very buttoned up. Not the big bells and whistles and fireworks that you sometimes see in blockchain. So my job is to try and make those interesting and engaging. Hopefully, if there's enough people listening to this, I'm doing my job well. And I'm not super used to being on this side of a live event. I'm used to being the one asking the questions and letting someone else talk. So thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
No, we treat these ones like a collaborative session, so feel free to ask questions as well. Like, we're just here hanging out with a few hundred other people, so that's all right.
Sounds good.
Pac-Man, what's your week been about? Tell us what's going on in your world.
First of all, I'm gonna say this is my favorite space. Aventus team is one of the longest I've worked with, and these are two of my favorite people. Ellie is what we call mother of the family in Aventus community, and she has been the mother. Sometimes mother who's always playing with you and having fun, and when it's time to behave, you get told behave yourself. So yeah, two of my favorite people. Very happy to be with you guys. And the week, overall, we're still in Middle East, very hot. A lot of meetings and a lot of work, but looking forward to going back to Scotland for once. And being the cold weather I always moan about.
Yeah, at least you have the cold weather to go back home to. I live in Dubai permanently, so 40 degrees and not being able to go out while it's daylight is my reality until September. Everyone always laughs when I complain about, oh, it's too hot. You're so lucky, because my family and friends live in the UK. But I think I will take the cold over the heat when it's this hot.
Yeah, I think the routine has now become I used to be very wake up early morning, go for a run, but now it's I would intentionally sleep later on and spend most of the evening and night outdoors because it's more better weather to be outdoors. And just to say, it's messed up my routine.
It does do that.
We'll get down into some tech in a minute, but we were talking on the pre-show about how I grew up in South Australia, and we would have school half days, anything over 37, and school got called off if it hit over 42, and that happened all the time. And so I think the record was only having school. We missed school 17 days in a row over 40 when I grew up once. So yeah. As you can tell, I'm highly suited to that climate with my Scottish, Irish, German ancestry.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you dealt with that.
The sun loves me.
And just for anyone that's listening, I know that at Aventus we have a lot of community members that are based in the US. So just for the record, Michael, you're talking 37, 42 Celsius, not Fahrenheit.
Yeah, so we're talking plus 100 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
I think double it and add 30. That's probably the closest range I've been told to what, when 110-ish? Yeah.
Yeah, I think 40 is around 110.
Yep.
Brutal.
Crazy.
Basically.
Ellie, I'll throw to you in a minute to like maybe lead our conversation about what Aventus has been up to. But just as an intro as well, like from the Republic Labs community or anyone who doesn't know Republic Labs, we're a blockchain and research and media arm based out of Bali, Indonesia. We're one of Indonesia's largest blockchain communities. And just at the start of this year, we have also made our content and research available in English as well. So we pump out something like 30 different research articles a week. And so we also are one of the founding team of the Mandala chain, which is an upcoming Polkadot parachain, which is imminently about to launch, which is looking to sort of add government and retail and enterprise applications all sort of in an ecosystem. But highly excited to talk Aventus, because I think for those from the Republic Labs side of things that don't really know the Aventus project, these guys are OGs and have been around for quite some time. I think you're one of the only parachains listed on Binance. Is that correct?
Not Binance. We're on Coinbase.
That's the one. Sorry, Coinbase. It was Coinbase. I knew it was like
everyone's going to be like,
Coinbase is even better. Coinbase is even better. And so, so these guys are the real deal when it comes to blockchain. And so I think we wanted to, I guess, really expose our community as well to some of the amazing things you guys are working on.
Oh, thank you for the very kind words. I mean, there's obviously quite a big range in the Polkadot ecosystem and in the wider blockchain ecosystem of people building a bunch of different things. But I was super excited when you guys came onto the scene, because what you're doing with Mandala is very aligned with what we're doing at Aventus in terms of bringing real world widespread use cases that don't necessarily put blockchain and Web3 at the forefront. It's just the necessary technology and infrastructure in the back end that allows businesses and governments and massive organizations to really level up. And the reason I've been at Aventus for so long is because I really think that that's the only way that you're going to get real massive widespread adoption of the technology that we all find super exciting.
Love it. Maybe, Alan, do you want to tell us the Genesis story? I know the Aventus community's probably already heard it a million times, so you could probably give it the condensed version. But do you want to let us know how you guys ended up here and how Aventus sort of came to be?
Absolutely. Sorry, I've had a distracting 2 minutes because I've got 2 new puppies here and they're running around attacking each other and attacking my feet. So I've been meaning to jump in, but as soon as I want to, they're on me. But anyway, so the Genesis story for Aventus, I mean, we've been, I guess, kind of like many startups, you end up pivoting until you find what really works, right? So I think back in 2016, Aventus started as my master's thesis. I was doing my master's in artificial intelligence at the time. This is the pre-ChatGPT, pre-LLM era. So when I finished up my thesis, I was like, no, actually Web3 is sexier than AI. Who would have seen what was coming, right? Everyone thought it was like 100 years away before we get AI as good as we have today. But anyway, my master's thesis was on Ethereum because it had just launched that year. I was introduced to the founder of CoinShares, Danny, who had also gone to Imperial and the university I went to. And he was like, Alan, you've got good grades, good thesis. I don't know what you're talking about, but if you work hard, I'll give you a seed check and see what you can do. So that's really where it started. I pitched him like film rights distribution. And as we got into it, film was 10 years behind music, and even music was far behind technologically. They were talking about this new technology that is streaming. We were like, well, not that new, guys. We're talking about blockchain. And so we went all the way down that road. We did an ICO in 2017 in the music industry for secondary market ticketing. We ended up doing a deal with Live Nation, one of their festivals in France. Live Nation are the biggest player in the world there in Ticketmaster and whatnot. And that business looked good. But then COVID happened, and for, I don't know, a year, 2 years, all events were cancelled. There were no tickets. You couldn't buy a single ticket to an event. Who could have like foreseen an event like that, an occurrence like that happening? So we ended up in a position where we had gone from zero to a big business using this technology in 2018, 19, the early days of enterprise adoption. And everything we had learned and everything we had built, we were like, let's productize this and help onboard the Web2 world to Web3. And that's where I then founded Aventus Services in its current iteration in late 2020. And we've been building since.
Nice.
Super cool.
Pretty cool. One of the OGs in the ecosystem.
Yeah, I think the thing that like because we at Mandala met Seth quite early on, Pac-Man. You got a double alias. Sometimes I phase in and out between Batman and Bruce Wayne. But yeah, like we met quite early on and learned about you guys quite quickly. And I had been observing the Polkadot ecosystem from afar for quite some time before becoming actively involved in it. But when we decided to kind of actually build out something, is because my co-founder Anta got approached by the Indonesian government to solve some solutions which they were having, solve some issues they were having by using blockchain. And they didn't really know exactly how that worked. And so he came and approached our firm. We did a boot camp for about 80 politicians based out of Indonesia. And then that's where kind of the idea was born to be able to create blockchain services or services on chain. But the word mandala means universe, or cosmos. So kind of like the cosmos ecosystem. And so we wanted to create like a multi-chain sort of environment where there's a point to this story, but that we wanted to create this multi-chain environment where different services could be put on chain or their own chain or a private chain if it needed to be, but was all interoperable from one location. And so I think Aventus is one of the projects, along with other places like Energy Web inside the Polkadot ecosystem, where there's a very real possibility that we could take some of these potential use cases that the Mandala project has found and stick it on Aventus. And then maybe the Mandala native token is the token of that project, but it lives on a chain like Aventus, or it's accessible, because not all of these use cases that are being built out by the Mandala project will exist on the Mandala mainnet. Some of them will have their own chain. Some of them will exist on our chain. Some of them could exist on your chain, but are accessed by the Mandala token itself. So I think the cross collaboration here is real, because it's effectively trying to achieve the same vision. And obviously you're a very mature project. And so I think there's going to be a time and place where you become the obvious solution. So that's what really excites me about some sort of partnerships here moving forward.
Appreciate it, man. And I mean, the fight that you guys are doing, this is the way the best businesses are built, right? It's not a solution that goes looking for a problem. It's a problem that you then build the solution around. And it sounds like, obviously that's your guys' origin story. It's exactly how it came about. And to your point around the Mandala token being used there, in a chain, this was really what Aventus 2.0 went out to kind of solve, because we had a problem where we were developing these solutions for companies, and some of the companies were like, okay, we have our own token, like Energy Web. All of the tech under Energy Web X is Aventus. But they're like, we have our own token. We can't use the Aventus parachain. We need our own thing. So Aventus 2.0 essentially allows people to spin up what we call app chains, use your own token, have your own token economics, but still benefit from Aventus and therefore that kind of wider Polkadot ecosystem. And I think it's very in line with your guys' vision of, and I guess ultimately the founder Gav's vision of, blockchains talking to each other, delivering domain-specific value to clients.
And most of the value obviously comes from community and users. Like everybody talks about mass adoption, and Mandala is talking about bringing 100 million users, which is amazing. Like I don't know any project that even can make that claim, let alone actually deliver it. And that was the whole.
No. I'll butt in really quickly, but I feel like that claim has brought a lot of skepticism as opposed to like a marketing buzzword. And I want to clarify where it comes from. So one of the main use cases that is actually being built on Mandala chain is from a company called Pundi, which is a state-owned entity in Indonesia, and they own the .id domain. So .id doesn't stand for identity, it stands for Indonesia. And they own that domain system. And they have 100 million users using a .id domain. And so they're the ones who are building the main project on Mandala chain. it's an identity project that they want. They think if people are using .id for identity, not for Indonesia, well, let's just lean into that. They own the asset, and so they're gonna have the ability to be able to create their own .id domain, which will be attached to an identity. So they're leaning into the use case that it got commandeered for, and so we really do think this is real because at a bearish case example where maybe let's say 1% of their user base adopts it, well, we've still just landed 1 million users. And I think from the last metrics, even something like Polkadot is bringing in something like 15K daily users, and really hot chains that are really buzzwordy at the moment, like Sui or Optimism, are like in the 200K daily user range. And so like a real like failure in inverted brackets here could be really big numbers. And so we do think that that's quite bullish when you've got a country of 280 million people and one of the state-owned assets is talking about building on your chain. Take it back to you, Pac-Man. Go ahead. I just wanted to preface it.
I don't know if I can meet the enthusiasm. No, but it's good though, because the whole community is very happy about the potential of the not just the markets, but like the actual adoption of the protocol, and then hopefully others can follow, and we can see not just Indonesia, but other countries also like adopting blockchain and seeing that. But the whole conversation today was around the community. Like we're just talking about users and stuff. Like community has been very demanding recently, and I think the issue is the main thing is like there's a lot of projects now, there's a lot of competition, and then the number of Web2 users coming into Web3 is probably actually lesser than the new projects they're building. So a lot of community are expecting a lot of things from the projects. Like, what do you think about that, Alan? Like, you're obviously the OGs as well. How's the community? I mean, yeah, Ellie probably be the best person to answer this one.
Sorry to jump in and sorry to cut you off, Alan. I was just thinking about Michael, what you said about 100 million users, and then Seth, Pac-Man, what you were saying about community and users and using those terms interchangeably. And I think that's where a lot of the confusion comes in, that community and users are not necessarily the same thing. 100 million users or 1 million users even doesn't necessarily mean 1 million people trading tokens and going on exchanges and talking in Telegram or, even following on Twitter. It means, like I said before, right, people using the technology without even knowing that they're using the technology. I think your example is a great one. Our use case of prediction markets is another one that might resonate with a lot of people. One of the app chains on Aventus is Truth Network, which is used by Galactic, launching prediction markets. They recently announced that they're launching a prediction market with Sports Illustrated. The majority of people that are going to be using those prediction markets are not going to be community in the sense of like what we think of community and what the majority of people watching this live event probably think of as community. They're not going to be crypto native people or people like deep within the blockchain world or token world. They're not even going to know really that they're using blockchain and crypto and tokens. That all happens in the back end. And while the people that are super excited about the different tokens and projects want to talk about those, the reality is that for most people that's like confusing and irrelevant to their user experience. So are we building for community or are we building for mainstream users? The answer realistically for both of our projects is a combination of both to some degree. And then the question becomes, how do we balance those two stakeholders?
Super interesting. Hey, sorry, Alan, you shoot.
No, go for it, Michael. I was just going to kind of reiterate on Elliot's two different target personas, right? And quite often your community is more like, in a traditional sense, you think of your stakeholders, your board of directors, as a public company, your shareholders, right? And they're not necessarily using your products. There are many kind of male owners in female-only product lines and vice versa, or whatever you want to segment by, right? Whereas your actual users are the people doing the demand side factors for the actual fundamental economics of the ecosystem that you've built. So everybody needs to focus on the users to drive the economic model to feed back to the whole community.
You actually said this exact same point that I was going to say. Like, it's very thought provoking what you're saying, Ellie, because you are right. Like, it's someone using a product is very different from someone investing in a product, and that gets very convoluted in blockchain spaces because token holders effectively are project owners. They're investors in a project. Um, and so yeah, you hope that you turn your customers into joint owners in your product. That's effectively what we're trying to achieve. This is the dogathon right here. I feel like I need to get a dog in the house.
I got rid of them, so they ran down to Ellie.
No, it's 100% right, and that's why I think we're trying to treat our customers with a higher degree of respect because they, in theory, flick a switch, click a button, and become an owner of the project as well at the same time.
Yeah, and I think this is why people, because they have this mentality like I own the project, and they think they get to dictate a lot of things in the protocol. But then sometimes lack of experience, like as a community member, you could be a token holder or a shareholder or whatever for a long time, but you wouldn't understand how the legal things work in a project, and you can't really just it's not a click of a button and you can make things happen. A very simple example would be like we had a MXC exchange listing news just went live today. So the AVT token now is going to be listed on MXC. But there is a lot of process that goes behind it, like KYC and a lot of things that you have to do. But community just thought, for example, it's just you tell the exchange we want to list, and next week you're listed. And then obviously the KYC process took about 4 or 5 weeks or a little bit longer, and then we had to deal with a lot of explanation and everything with the community, where they kind of refuse to understand how these things work. So where on their side, I'm not saying they're wrong, because obviously it's just lack of experience and knowledge. But this is where it's a big kind of it becomes a little bit challenging to like keep everybody happy, especially when they don't know how the corporate side of things work.
Yeah, I mean, for those that Alan explained earlier, that Aventus had a seed investment from CoinShares back in 2017-ish. For those who are listening, or I don't know what Michael, your history is with Mandala or Republic Labs or anything else you've done, but for those that have experience with more traditional investors and shareholders, they actually get a lot less. I've written a few like investor updates for Aventus, so I know the information that they receive. And they actually get a lot less visibility and regular updates and input than traditional community members. And we're talking about people that, or investors that, depending on the business, might be investing anywhere from thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars into businesses. And they often don't get as much insight or as much of a say into the running of a business as community members do, who may have invested anywhere between tens, hundreds, thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars into a token, typically per investor, a lot less than what a traditional finance investor or a VC would invest. And the kind of disparity between the stake that you have and the information and influence that you expect is sometimes a bit off. Nevertheless, a community has been since the start of crypto blockchain projects, and continues to be to this day, a crucial part of many projects being able to start and continue running. So managing and keeping them satisfied, I guess, is crucial.
Yeah. It's quite a task to have everybody happy. It's not just the crypto community, but I think when you have people from like different backgrounds, religions, culture, countries, everything, and they're all in one group chat, and like there's always going to be sometimes a little bit clash on misunderstandings or language barriers as well, that can become a little bit difficult sometimes. Like when you're actually like, especially let's say in Telegram and Discord chats, when you're talking to somebody, you can actually read their emotions. But when somebody's writing something in Telegram, you don't know whether they meant it in a good way or a bad way. So you just have to kind of, so it becomes a little bit of a task to keep everybody happy. But so far, I think especially Ellie, has been doing a great
likewise
job.
To you, Seth. Sorry, I'm so used to. I'm really doxing you.
Sorry, we could just call it Ellie and Seth's space, and we could just give each other compliments,
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Pac-Man, not Seth.
Yeah.
I think being able to, these are individual people at the end of the day. And I think actually that's a really important thing to remember when you're working in a B2B kind of situation like Mandala and Events is, no matter who you're speaking to, whether it's businesses or community members or investors, there's always a human being on the other side of the phone or computer or coffee shop table at the end of the day. And how do you connect and resonate with that other human being is the best way to everyone winning.
And you see it internally, right?
Yeah, and Mike,
sorry, even in teams. So we build various different businesses. You get insight into the different teams, and there you would think people's incentives are much more aligned, right? Everybody gets their bulk of their paycheck from the business. They have equity options or whatever else. So everybody has the same goal, whereas in some of these communities, sometimes objectives are different. And still, when the pressure comes, people misunderstand each other. People start going at each other and kind of lose sight of what really matters. I know sometimes when I'm in the community and people are giving me a hard time for not posting enough on social media or whatever, it's not because I didn't want to, it's because other things for the business took priority, and you're there trying to think like, guys, let's remember what really matters here. We're all rowing in the same direction. Constructive feedback is awesome, but when you then start getting into a world where people become dissatisfied and just start letting their emotions out, it's like you're actually hurting yourself because you're a part of this community and bringing everyone down. So the most fascinating thing I think in business, in life, is the relationships you build with other people and how you can continually hone your communication skills and better put yourself in the shoes of the person standing across from you.
This wasn't.
Michael's been doing. Sorry, I was just going to say Michael has been running the biggest Indonesian community, so I'm sure he's probably the OG of running communities.
Well, I actually was just going to say, like, I've been able to see two sides of the coin a little bit here, which is why I was a bit excited for this topic, because like Web3 expectations, like Web3 is still a very broad tent as well. And so working on the Mandala project specifically, okay, now we've got people who are wanting a specific product, a specific project that will have a token associated with it. They're investing in this potential or the future success of this particular project. So that expectation level, that's where it becomes tribal, I guess, because sometimes people feel like the promotion of something else is maybe to the detriment of what that this particular business is trying to do. But there's a world where Pepsi and Coca-Cola are both fabulously successful. But yeah, what you're just saying, Pac-Man, like we started out obviously not with a token, just dealing with a community, and it was a blockchain agnostic community, being Republic Rupiah, Republic Labs. So Republic Rupiah is our Indonesian variant of Republic Labs. And YouTube, we have about 170,000 subscribers, and they seem to be quite active. We are regularly clocking like over 200,000, active users over any one quarter. And so it's still very vibrant, but it's not just like a particular blockchain ecosystem. We've got people who care about Solana, who care about Bitcoin, who care about Ethereum. We even have an XRP community. We have a Binance chain community. And so we had to navigate, how do you activate products and how do you share tech stacks with a community that's really diverse? And so we had to come up with a really specific set of rules about how we respect each other. And it was not fudding other people's projects and not just like actively talking down projects. And just because you're talking something up doesn't mean you have to talk down to something else. So don't punch down on projects. We also had a really strict rule that you don't swim in water where you don't know where the bottom is, meaning that I'm not going to go and actively really detailed talk about the Aventus tech stack if I'm not an Aventus developer. And so like we've got contributors who write a lot about projects, but if you don't understand something, don't go giving an opinion on it. I think that's what Twitter is. It's an army of people who don't understand something giving a really strong opinion on it.
That's what the internet is overall, really.
Yeah, and so managing expectations, I think, is respecting the community and being a professional in what you're a professional in, and being a novice like publicly in what you're a novice in.
Yeah, acknowledging that you actually don't know everything. And I really love what you said about one project's win is not necessarily another one's loss. The reason that projects or people or businesses or relationships or whatever you want to talk about, the reason they fail is not because in most instances another one was better. It's just because that one wasn't good enough. That's just the harsh reality. And Ethereum being amazing doesn't mean that Bitcoin is rubbish or vice versa. It just means that they each have their own space, and there is, if there are two good ideas and demand for both of those, then there will be space for both.
And you get to a point where a market is saturated, right? Like at some point, I think the soft drink industry, I don't think there's necessarily, if you pitch me tomorrow, I've got a new type of cola, I'll probably say maybe pass, like it seems like that's a pretty well-trodden path. But in the world of Web3, you can get Coca-Cola in every single country, maybe bar a couple of sanctioned ones, right? You don't have every single person with a Web3 wallet or some Bitcoin even, or some tokens. So I think as an industry, we're still at a point of let's fight for mainstream adoption by coming together and giving the user the best experience possible. Once every single person is a crypto user, then maybe turn on each other a bit more, become a bit more competitive and fight for the piece of the pie. But we're not there today. So it's better to band together and bring the people in, then worry about who owns them later on.
Even when every single human has a crypto wallet, there's still going to be an infinite amount of AI agents that need their own wallets. And so the pie is big. It's a bottomless pit, everybody. We don't need to worry about it. We don't need to worry about it. I do think as well, it's like we don't have to pick our blockchain ecosystem like it's a religion and you can only have one. Like, I think we need to normalize the idea that, somebody can really love Ethereum and also really love Polkadot. Like, they don't have to be adversarial. Like, and I'll put my hand up, like, I've spent way more time in Ethereum than I have in Polkadot, but I'm building in Polkadot. So, like I have a lot of love for both ecosystems, and I think that they're both fantastic and they both have their time and space and necessary. And I'm a Bitcoiner as well. So, we'll throw it all in there.
Yeah, and especially,
I don't know if you know, but Aventus is also on Ethereum and Polkadot.
Yeah, we used to be on Ethereum. Now we're on Polkadot, but we maintained our bridge with Ethereum. And especially when you're building for big businesses, you don't know what their needs or preferences or limitations are. The more optionality you can give people when it comes to technology and ability to tailor the solution you provide for them, the more likely they are to go for your solution. And like we've been saying, bringing a business into Web3 that was previously not in Web3 is a bigger win than Aventus theoretically only being in Polkadot and a business turning down working with us because a Polkadot solution didn't work with them and now they're not in Web3 at all.
At the end of the day, the most successful technology companies, all these companies put their values out there, right? And almost every single successful technology company you see puts the client first. It's the user, the experience, the problem that you're solving. The tech, they're great. We can have different camps and we can argue over different coins, and this one got you a better return, this one you're down on. That's all besides the point of the fundamental utility. And these are utility tokens. The real long-term win for everybody is solving real problems in better and better ways, delivering an awesome experience to the user, making that user sticky and growing that LTV ultimately.
Yep, I love it. I think you've hit the nail on the head, and which is why I think collaboration is the aim of the game. And I do think that projects that can learn to collaborate with each other are the ones that will succeed as well. We normally keep these to about 45 minutes because I think it's good to keep that attention span from all of our users and all of our audience and community. So I think like the main thing is for all of, maybe if you're from the Aventus ecosystem and you haven't heard about Mandala, or if you're from Mandala or Republic and you haven't heard about Aventus, I think the reason why we'd like to have these get-togethers is because like these are projects that we all highly respect and think that have real merit. And so maybe like you could just take a moment and sort of share what our general feelings are about the industry or the market at the moment, and then sort of maybe what you're excited about, like from your specific project moving forward, or what if you want to share something on a roadmap, or just what you're building at the moment and what you are really, you know, pumped to be working on from a day-to-day basis. Anyone can go first.
I love that. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I think from a macro perspective, it's great to see the whole market is correlated with Bitcoin, whether you like it or not, right? And the interest and the attention and the news that is pushed out positively kind of correlates with the price of Bitcoin. So I always find it good for business development when people are talking positively about Bitcoin. So it's great to see Bitcoin above 100 grand again, holding those levels. More and more real institutions looking at building corporate treasuries in BTC and everything else. And that's the gateway crypto, right? That's the entry point into all the other beautiful stuff that exists in the industry. So macro-wise, it looks like things are going well. Regulatory-wise, things are getting clearer and clearer. It's really promising from a corporate perspective and driving adoption. I think we're seeing great strides in the industry. Very friendly market now in the US that a lot of people tend to follow just because of the liquidity in American stock markets ultimately. So things look good for the industry there. In terms of our micro little corner of this industry at Aventus, the things that we're really building, what we're excited on, we're all focused, I mentioned Aventus 2.0, right? It's all about driving app chains. How can we bring more of these value add ecosystems, solving problems, communicating with each other, and building these kind of partnerships between real projects like Mandala and many of the other energy web, mythical games, just to mention a few of the big ones in the Polkadot ecosystem, right? Never mind the ecosystems beyond that. So seeing more and more sort of beneficial synergistic relationships appearing between these, the tech getting easier, delivering a better experience to users. That's what we're focused on day by day and hoping to see a lot more of.
Yeah. Michael, do you want to talk about Mandala's upcoming
Yeah, sure. Well? So it's been a long time coming because it's been a very technically difficult process to be able to do something that hasn't really been done before and actually have a state-owned entity or a particular government build an application on a public blockchain. And so that has been a lot of the tricky part, I guess, coming from the Mandala side, but we're very, very close. And so there's been a lot of tech which has been built in the background, which will work on like a private chain because we have a particular province in one part of Indonesia has their own private chain. The ID chain is its own private chain, but that will all be accessible from the Mandala public chain. But what will happen in the next couple of weeks is the Mandala public testnet will be live. So anyone who's an app builder can come and deploy on top of Mandala or on the public testnet. And you can come and play around. You can, build on it. You can play around with test tokens. That'll all happen, imminently. So keep an eye on the Telegram and the Twitter and the Discord. You'll get all the information that you need. There'll be docs available. But I think the big thing that we're really excited about is actually obviously mainnet going live, and that is coming very, very, very soon. We look forward to like some more business integrations. There's a lot of stuff we're cooking that we can't announce yet because it's not real enough yet. But for every sort of 10 shots on goal you have, maybe you land 2 or 3 of them. And so there's a lot of balls in the air right now that we're working on, and some of them are hugely exciting. We just got to hope that they find the back of the net. But yeah, everything's coming. And if you want to come and join the ecosystem, come get involved. And if you're from our ecosystem and you don't know Aventus, go have a look because it's pretty exciting.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and vice versa to anyone who's here from Aventus. You're under strict instructions. Go check out Mandala. I've noticed that people really bloody hate when we say we're working on something and we can't talk about it yet because it's not finalized and our partner has not okayed us talking about it publicly. That's one of those things that, when we talk about community and their expectations that I always get a lot of pushback on. The reality is that when you're working with third parties who are real businesses with sometimes very big legal and compliance departments, you can't talk about it until they give you the green light, and there's lots of hoops to jump through until you get there. I'm sure you've had similar experiences, and we're not about to throw entire deals away just to give a teaser about something that is not completely firmed and finalized, because then everyone loses. But yeah, I'm excited to hear what's coming for you guys. I'm also excited to share some things that we're working on at Aventus that we also can't talk about yet because they're not completely finalized. But if they do get over the line, then they'll be pretty huge. We obviously can talk about the prediction markets that are launching that we know are going to be significant because they're with significant partners. I believe the first one is supposed to launch in the next, I want to say 4 to 8 weeks, so soon. And I'm excited to see how that goes. That's obviously with, again, a partner of Aventus, so not completely in our control, but hopefully should drive lots of transactions on one of the Aventus app chains. So yeah, excited for the future all around.
Yeah. And one thing for the Aventus community, like somebody who's missed the announcement that our MXC listing is going live tomorrow. A lot of people have been asking for this. So yeah, if you haven't already known, you can go into the X and you can see the announcement is pinned on
Yeah,
the
thanks
top
for the shameless plug there, Pac-Man. I don't want to be too self-promotional, but yeah, it's something that we've been working on for quite a few weeks. Listing on exchanges is when your token goes live, you'll see, Michael. It's one of my worst parts of my job, to be honest. Very laborious, lots of back and forth, but we got there in the end. Yeah, Aventus is on.
See, the next time it's probably another topic, another Twitter space, but like it's more easy to list a meme coin than a legit project on a legit exchange. You know, it's just like meme. They don't have any KYCs. You know, there's like literally very like kind of relaxed regulations, and you can list meme coins. But like a legit project, yeah, it's very hard.
But we did get there in the end. Aventus AVT, the Aventus token, is going to be live on MEXC from tomorrow. The announcement went out today. So yeah, for everyone that's been asking where that is, it's here, and I hope you're all very excited about it.
Happening tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much. I think Michael, that's everything from us. Do you wanna talk about the testnet and everything as well?
No, I think I covered it mostly. So yeah, just keep an eye out, everybody. You'll be able to go and play around on testnet. I'm guessing in the next week. So if it hasn't happened already by this time next week, then we'll give you the full spill. But yeah, really, really good to talk to you guys again. It's been a little minute since we've been able to catch up.
Yeah.
Since I think probably Belgium, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, which was like almost a year ago, 9 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So good to catch up again. Like, congrats on everything you guys are working on. We've been watching from afar. So yeah, really excited to link up again, and hopefully this is not the last time that we spoke between now and another year's time.
It definitely won't be. Yeah, both communities will be seeing much more of each other, and yeah, lots of conversations to be had behind the scenes as well, I think.
Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. That's it from our side. Yeah, but stay tuned. Follow along on all these socials. If you haven't followed any of the other projects, go and have a investigate, because we like to bring quality to the space on a Wednesday. And yeah, we'll be back in touch this time next week.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
Bye.